Summary of Unfuck Yourself. Get Out of Your Head and Into Your Life by Gary John Bishop is about to begin. Enjoy. Key point 1. Always say yes. At some point in human history, people decided that every change starts from within. This is true, but only partly. We need to get out of our heads occasionally to see a different perspective and entertain a personal change. Gary John Bishop uses more direct words to convey the same idea. Choose the mantra you prefer before embarking on the short but effective trip to a changed mindset. The transformation process is rarely aesthetic or painless, but will win you over after the first results. Sure, no one can force you into change, although Bishop would love you to start the moment you finish here. And maybe there's some truth to it. The faster we start, the less time we have to overthink. Luckily, the advice you're about to learn is ready to use, so your commute to work or school may take you a bit further than your destination. What do you say about this proposal? It's time for less thinking and more doing. Key point 2. To be willing to win. Willing to win sounds somewhat vague, don't you think? It gets even less clear if you see the words next to it. Unwillingness, self-sabotage, self-fulfilled prophecy. Every change in life starts with a will. The dictionary defines willingness as being prepared or ready, thus being committed to something. Take New Year's resolutions. What do people say during this time? I will do, or I'm going to. People are high on last minute of the year dopamine, and rightfully so. However, will they still mean it tomorrow morning? Some may, but many don't. What lacks here is the will. You can be in the mood for change when the general vibe in the room is stimulating, but can you promise to stay like this in the future? Probably not, which is fine, but it leads you nowhere. Blaming yourself for being lazy is also counterproductive. What it is, however, is being unwilling. Before doing anything else, ask yourself, in all honesty, am I willing? If you can't pinpoint something specific to be decisive about, start with the opposite and decide what you are unwilling to continue. Is it your current lifestyle, job, or relationships? The list is different for everyone. When you have identified your problem points, you can use the unhappiness they produce to grow your willingness to change. How do you do it? You may already have self-sabotage, self-fulfilled prophecies, or preconditioned beliefs. Malcolm Gladwell ironically points out that you always win in your life, but the twist is where. For example, if you give up working out or learning a new language because you feel it won't last, you create a self-fulfilling prophecy. But if you want to win, try this strategy. Identify the areas you struggle with. Take time to identify the root cause of your limitations. They may relate to family dynamics, your environment, or something else. Shape a goal after your investigation and break it into realistic chunks. Consider the mindset change you're chasing and how you'll feel after eventual achievement. Doing this is the first sign you are willing. The moment you stick to something, you must repeat it every day until you reach your goal. Key point 3. Strutting on an air of uncertainty. Life is beautiful until it is not. Things happen. Some are good, some are not. But our brain loves to hover over negative things like a vulture. Uncertainty is the one thing that feeds our fears of misfortune the most. Imagine you're the head of your family and you lose your job. You're stressed and scared to share the news with your spouse, and thinking, what's next? Spoils your appetite at the dinner table. You're so in your head you don't listen to your partner or children. In fact, you're getting irritated. When your partner notices your inattentiveness, you snap at them, ruining the mood for everyone. When you're unsure of something, your worries soon spill into other areas of your life. Now, imagine someone comes up and teaches you that uncertainty is actually a gift. It is during our darkest moments that we must focus to see the light. Aristotle. The fact is that uncertainty is indeed a gift, but you may not be in the best mental space to consider it. The next time life catches up with you, take a moment and try this exercise. Imagine your life as a timeline. Your past is on your left and your future is on your right. Start with the past. Think about your most precious and warmest experiences and the challenges you've overcome. Remember you're here now, so these troubles have not broken you down. Now, think about your future. Let your thoughts swim in the sea of untapped potential that awaits you. At the same time, keep in mind that trials and defeats will still happen, but you've proven yourself strong. So what can another challenge do that previous ones have not? Problems aren't meant to make your life intolerable, but to reveal your abilities. Uncertainty catalyzes progress. Evolution wouldn't happen without it. Embracing the unknown means opening yourself to new experiences that will teach you something valuable, no matter the outcome. Consider taking a risk now and then, and note how leaving your comfort zone feels. Soon enough, you'll find yourself addicted not to the calm of predictability, but to the thrill of the unexplored. Key point 4. Your thoughts are you, but not quite. Thoughts are material. Have you heard this before? What this proverb doesn't explain is how something abstract can be as powerful as changing your life. That's why hearing it hundreds of times is so annoying. But again, the phrase itself makes sense, and it's time to dissect it to understand it. Let's use another phrase for this case. You are not your thoughts. It is another common phrase, yet just as valuable. Think of the last time you put off doing something because you didn't feel like it. For example, you rejected a social gathering despite knowing it'd be good for networking because you felt under the weather that specific day. Or maybe you procrastinated on a work task. Now you're stressed out and have to do it at the last minute. Listen to your thoughts. Do they sound like, "Why can everyone do it and I can't? What's wrong with me?" Or "I'm so stupid"? What's most likely to happen next is you give in to these thoughts and self-sabotage. Negative self-talk overtakes you and spoils the rest of the day, even if the situation was minor to begin with. But avoiding negative thoughts is impossible. If anything, it's a waste of energy. Instead, you can spend it on persevering despite self-deprecating beliefs. As life goes on, bad moods and bad days are inevitable, yet they shouldn't stop you. Thoughts are just thoughts, unless you start acting on them. If you don't act, it means you fear. If you do act, the fear is still there but has no power over you. Have you heard the saying, motivation appears as you act? Beating critical self-talk is an underrated source of spark when performed this way. Start doing the thing that scares you, give it another 5 minutes, and then do one more round. Notice how engaged you become and continue working. As you finish, observe how you feel. Do you have a fuzzy, warm feeling of accomplishment? Why not try and repeat it tomorrow? Key point 5. Expect nothing and accept everything. Few creatures on Earth are as ambitious and anxious as humans. We build walls of expectations about ourselves and others and feel frustrated or even angry if they are not realized. A failed relationship or wishing to leave a job you hate can be traced back to expectations. Your thoughts, remember, they are still just thoughts, and mental pictures of a perfect outcome. And what happens when they are not met? Right? The gate to hell opens, releasing all the demons to earth. But in all seriousness, there is a real as something abstract can be, gap that appears between what you imagined and what actually happened. And yes, the pain caused by this gap can be hell-like, but the gap is here. So do you mend it? Let's summarize before diving in. Leave expectations at the door. Clarify how this disparity makes you feel. Learn to act in the moment. First, you need to release your grip on expectations. Sure, they are necessary to set healthy boundaries, but it's about letting go of expectations as a life planning strategy. Again, holding on to them may be counterproductive. Instead, use this energy to define everything you want to try. When life throws a curveball, look for the new opportunity it presents. The second step is to recognize the influence expectations have on you. This exercise may help you with doing just that. Pick the most troublesome area in your life right now. On a piece of paper, write out how it was supposed to be with as many details as possible. On a separate piece of paper, describe what the situation really looks like. Compare the two papers. The area with the broadest gap likely causes you the most upset. The last step is the hardest. Teach yourself to expect nothing and capture life as it unfolds. If you have no predetermined assumptions, you're less likely to be hurt by sudden detours and unpaved paths. Create your quota for expectations to protect your standards. It is the only exception. Did you know? According to the 2021 study in Social Psychology Quarterly, young people are less distressed by unrealized personal expectations than adults with stable careers. Youngsters usually still have less to lose and more paths to try. Key point 6. Getting serious about change. For this last part, let's quickly review what we've learned so far. Everything starts with the will, the internal urge to change whatever is eating at us. It can be a displeasing job, a failing relationship, or no direction in life whatsoever. Making a conscious decision to turn our boat around equals making a promise to ourselves. There's even a step-by-step instruction on where to start, but to alter is easier said than done when things like self-sabotage, doubt, or enormous expectations block our oars. No wonder many of us never make the first step, preferring to stay in the safety of our coaches and familiar anxieties instead. But let's be honest, leaving things unchanged is admitting we don't deserve better. And yes, as with all that's worth it in this world, self-improvement takes work. One of the ironic things about self-help materials is that we always leave motivated but rarely act upon the advice or wait for a moment until we're calmer, more confident, or wiser to practice it. Whichever of two excuses occupies our thoughts, it all can be summarized into one unfortunate word: procrastination. Many of us believe that to start changing, our internal world must improve first. Sadly, this is a deceiving approach. External circumstances can, more often than not, ignite our motivation to change. For example, when we finally manage to complete something we thought was above our skill set, the sweet sense of accomplishment makes us feel like superheroes. Even just trying can be satisfying if we beat our doubt. Overwhelming tasks can kill motivation. Smaller steps make the process easier. The following plan may look a bit like a cold turkey, but for some people, it's the best way to begin. Stop doing what you're doing. Every habit requires conscious thought and a painful effort to stop. Be honest with yourself about the habits you succumb to. Take the first step forward. Come up with new habits to cultivate. Start with one harmful pattern. You might stumble, but it's okay. Revise your plan, be realistic with your goals, and continue. But remember to check in with yourself to remember your aim. You are what you do, not what you say you'll do. Carl Jung. Conclusion. One aspect of self-improvement we don't discuss enough is turning off our inner critic before even attempting to change. On top of that, we often feel lost after not knowing what we're ready to remove and how to do it. The past is eating us, and the future is not on the horizon. But things don't have to be this gloomy. Sometimes the very thing we must do is begin, however challenging it feels. It's hard to leave bad habits that took years to form, so never be discouraged after working but not seeing results. They are here. Make regular throwbacks to your past to compare results and notice tiny changes. And remember, negative self-talk never results in anything positive. Try this. Find yourself a buddy to challenge each other and become more comfortable with change. Try time blocking in your calendar to dedicate realistic time chunks for new activities within your regular day. Refer to yourself in the third person when practicing positive self-talk to feel less awkward initially. Summary complete. Please take a moment to rate it so we can help you grow in the best way possible.